tell, then you see the road. I'm out to my soul into the size whenever the smoke clear out of my face and my picture perfect.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to Cypherfics. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the second part of, What If BEN10 Meets the Boys? Special note, this fanfic is written and a masterpiece of AU-Fan62 on FANFICTIONnet. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. As they drove up to the electronics store, Ben noticed the dog toys and asked, "You have a dog?" "No." Butcher answers with a stern expression. "Then why the dash dot?" Ben was asking, but was cut off when Butcher exited the vehicle. This better not be a thing, he tells himself as he follows. When they get in, Butcher goes to the nanny cam section and starts examining a bear. "Why are we here?" Ben asks. "Just wait." Butcher mumbles. "You interested?" The store worker asks. "We're having a special on nanny cams actually. Popular bear, there's cameras in the eyes so." He tells them. "Tell me." Butcher begins. "How many nannies shake their babies?" "What?" "I'm sorry." "Like a real hard shake." Butcher continues, shaking the bear for emphasis. "Like trying to get ketchup out of a bottle." 1%. Less. The store worker just gives him a confused look. I don't really know." "Funny that." The Brit says, putting the bear back. "Sell $1 billion worth of that SHT worldwide." Takes a few steps to the employee. "Just goes to show you. The bollocks people will believe, if you get them scared enough." Cool. The man replies, with a nod. Is there anything I can help you with today or?" He asks, feeling uncomfortable, while glancing to the side. "I'm not gonna PSS you about, Hughie. I heard what happened to Robin." Butcher starts to tell him. I am sorry, who are you?" Hughie asks, more nervous than ever. "She wasn't in the street, she was one step off the F-curb." Butcher continues. "And you didn't take the payoff." He finishes with a bit of pride in his tone. "What's going on?" Ben asks, getting ready to use the watch. "I said who the hell are you and how do you know that?" The worker asks in slight fear. "The name's Butcher." Pulls out his FBI badge. "Billy Butcher." Hughie looks at the badge and is surprised. Billy then closes this distance to Hughie to just a few inches and in a hushed tone. "Listen, I was thinking that, you and me should have a little bit of a chat." Hughie looks at him, still in shock, and before he can reply. "Why are you whispering?" Ben asks, struggling to hear Butcher and not understanding why he was being so quiet. "Who's he, what's he doing here?" Hughie wonders, pointing at Ben. "Bring your kid to work day." Butcher answers. Scene cut. "Why, you're a fed?" Hughie asks, with him and Ben following Butcher in the crowded streets of New York. "You don't sound like a fed." "What, I can't immigrate." Butcher replies, before telling him. "There's a giant green slapper with her peach in the harbor that says different." "A what?" Ben asks, not knowing what Butcher was saying either from his accent or not understanding what that meant. "You don't look like a one either." Hughie points out. "No. What do I look like?" Butcher wonders, not at all bothered it. "Like you're staring in the corn version of the Matrix." Hughie tells him. Ben turns to the older kid and asks him. "The what in the what?" Hughie looks to the younger kid. "Right. There's a kid," he says, berating himself slightly for not watching what he was saying. "Don't worry 'bout it." Butcher brushes off, before adding. "And it's all right there in black and white." referencing the badge Hughie was still holding. Okay. Hughie accepts, walking faster so he was by Butcher's side. Exactly can I do for you? He wonders, not knowing how he could help someone from the FBI. Especially someone who found out about what really happened to Robin without actually being there. You got it all wrong, Hughie. It's what I can do for you. Butcher begins. You see, you ain't alone, son. It happens a lot more than you think. The fact is soups lose hundreds of people a year as collateral damage. He informs both Hughie and Ben, who are surprised. No. Come on, that'd be all over the news. People would be calling bloody murder. Hughie tries to reason. Aren't they just scammers and con artists? Ben asks. His own ignorance of this dimension's heroes, as well as his lack casualties blinding him to the reality. Yeah, look, there may be the odd mention of it now and again, like with Robin. Turns to Ben. And con artists don't care who they hurt as long as they make buck out of it. 'Cause they'd F their granny and put in on Pornhub sooner than owning up to the truth. What are you saying? Ben asks. There's a whole site more happening that just gets swept under the rug. Butcher answers. Why though? Hughie questions, not comprehending why anyone would do that. Ain't it obvious? Butcher stops and gestures to the VOT-based advertisements all over. Movie tickets, merchandising, theme parks, video games. He lists, before continuing. A multi-billion-dollar global industry supported by corporate lobbyists and politicians on both sides. Ben's eyes were drawn to one ad showing a soup named Starlight being a new member of the Seven. But the main reason that you won't hear about it is, 'cause the public don't want to know about it. Butcher tells them before going on. See, people love that cozy feeling that soups give them. Some golden CNT to swoop out of the sky and save the day so you don't got to do it yourself. So basically for money and power. Ben surmises. Part of it. Butcher agrees before adding. If you knew half the SHT they get up to in diabolical. The Brit then takes a showy step back and with a smile says. But that's where I come in. Come in to do what? Hughie asked, curious to know. Spank the BSTRDS when they get out of line. Butcher told him, shifting his expression into a serious one. What's with you and the spanking? Ben wondered, seeing that as a red flag. Hughie though had his own question. How do you spank a soup? Come on, son. Butcher says, ignoring the questions and turning to walk somewhere else. Where? Hughie called out. You'll love it. Butcher shouts back, not stopping. Not likely. Hughie disagrees, before telling him. Listen. I think this is good, I'm good. Thank you for an extremely weird conversation, but, I don't want to go to a second location with you. So, I'm gonna get back to work. Starts to turn around. Before Butcher could Ben stops him. Dude, I don't know who Robin is, or who you are or even him or whatever universe this is. He starts to say and adds. But 5 seconds after this deal is gone you're gonna wonder how much of a dweeb you were for not taking it. Who are you? Hughie asks. Name's Ben. Well Ben, you seem like a good kid. Hughie replies. But what can I do to help him? Well, what can you even do? He asks. Well, if he didn't think you could help then he wouldn't have tracked you down. Ben pointed out, then held up his left wrist with the omnitrix. And unlike the people at VOT I can actually go hero. He's right mate. Butcher agrees. What have you got to lose that you ain't already lost? Eventually Hughie agreed, but when they began walking to a second location Butcher stopped Ben. Now hold up. The next place we going to ain't exactly age appropriate. Best you head on home. He tells the kid. Come on. The shapeshifter whines. I'm serious. Butcher affirms. Tomorrow morning, meet us at this address. Hands him a slip of paper. A bar, sweet. Ben replies, reading the paper. Don't be late. Butcher warns and they go their separate ways. Arctic. In the middle of the frozen tundra, there was a crater. There was no debris from either a planned crash or drone, just a hole. Suddenly a cracked crystal hand grabbed the top. New York. A criminal who just stole a lady's purse was running, hoping to get away fast. Suddenly a giant ball of goo hit him, making him stick to the window of a store. Just then a smelly four-eyed alien with buzzing wings came down. Guess you're not as quick as you think you are. The criminal was too grossed out to do anything, instead he just dropped the purse into the alien's hand. Does this belong to anyone? Stinkfly shouted, not knowing what to do now. This was always the problem with purse snatching, if you caught the criminal there was a chance the victim was not nearby. Thankfully this was not the case. Oh, thank you so. A voice said. Just then a large dark-skinned woman came into his view. She then turned to the criminal. You lucky he got you. Otherwise I woulda hooped your peach so far you woulda landed in upstate. Then I'd whoop your peach back here, then back there like a Serena Williams match. Lady. Stinkfly reminded her, holding her purse. Oh, thank you so much, sweetie. She said, gratefully with a sudden change of demeanor. Then covered her nose once the smell got to her. Boy, you nasty. She spoke, before reaching in her purse. Sorry, it just comes with cough. Ben began to speak, only to start coughing when she began spraying air freshener on him. Stop that. He requests, trying to block it. As soon as you don't smell like my husband from that time he worked at the fish market. She replies, not stopping. I swear cats thought we were hosting a bed and breakfast. Eventually she stops and Stinkfly takes a whiff. Huh, that does smell better. He comments. You're welcome. She tells him, hoisting her purse securely, then turns to the crowd around them. Someone get this nasty bug out of here. She calls out. Well, that's a little rude. The hero comments. She was talking about me, man. The criminal tells him. The woman turns back to him in sudden realization. Andre. He exclaims. Hey, Aunt Grace. He greets solemnly. You tried to rob your aunt. Not cool. Stinkfly comments. Oh, forget the cops. The now identified Grace begins. I am calling your mother. Reaches for her phone. No, I'm calling your grandmother. F. Andre swears. Grace gasps. Don't you use that language with me. That's only for when someone hits the lottery, starts dialing. And I mean like big lottery. 7 figures at least. I'm just gonna. Stinkfly says, gesturing his thumb behind him before flying off. At the bar. Ben walked in and before he could sit down the bartender stopped him. Yo, this ain't a Chuck E. Cheese. Before Ben could even ask what that was, someone else intervened. Don't get your pantyhose in a twist, kids with me. Butcher calls from a booth, across from Hughie. As Ben walks towards Butcher the Brit keeps talking. Don't worry. Not like you got any good SHT to give him anyway. This earns a few chuckles from some of the early patrons. As Ben slides next Hughie he asks. So what happened last night? Hughie's in. Butcher simply says, not mentioning the soup club or Hughie's uncertainty from last night. Wasn't that important anyway? In on what though? Ben asks. All he knows is that they're going after Vought, but not how. He wants me to sneak a bug into 7 Tower. Hughie explains. Bug like James Bond? Ben asked. Yeah. Hughie simply says. Cool. Ben shrugs. Yeah, exactly. He gets it. Butcher says with a smile, knowing how against the idea Hughie was. Butcher and Hughie then rehashed to Ben what Butcher told Hughie last night. Ben had no opposition. "Where do I fit in this?" he asks. "So glad you asked," Butcher said, before pulling a picture in his phone. It was of Nubian Prince and Nubia. A soup celebrity couple. "We need a distraction. But a more discreet one." "You want me to fight them?" Ben asked. Yes, but not now," Butcher replied. "They married you see, but they hate one another." "What, no way?" Hughie denied. "They're like Kim and Kanye. Show was made before they split. Just an act, mate. Vought doesn't want them to split, otherwise it makes them look like Butcher tells them. It's why they have a big house and only just hate each other when they ain't other people." "Should you really be talking like that?" Hughie reminds him, gesturing to the kid. "What am I supposed to do?" Ben wondered. "You're gonna drum up a media SHT storm for Vought." Butcher simply explains, ignoring Hughie. "This way they'll be focused on fixing another problem, they won't care when this one fixes itself." "You want him to destroy a family?" Hughie asks. "That's insane. Hugh. The family is already up." Butcher answers. "They're each other people, then going home to yell at each other about SHT. And it's only gonna get worse. Especially for the kid." "Kid?" Ben asks. "They got a daughter. So far no powers. But she's been sneaking out of the house to go to groundhogs." Butcher informs, switching the picture over to a girl walking into a small family home. Holding up the door is a man wearing a green outfit with a bird-like mask and silver hands. "I gave him hands that morph into hammers." "I'll do it." Ben agrees. "No pairing, he just wants to help." "This is crazy," Hughie tells them. "Crazy's the game. Better get used to it," Butcher tells Hughie. "To me that's crazy." Ben speaks, gesturing to two men on the other side of the establishment kissing briefly. "You never seen a gay couple?" Hughie asks. "Gay means kissing a guy?" The 10-year-old replies. "It means whatever the F." Butcher comments. "You can worry about that later. For now get that SHT, so we can put that bug and get Vought," he orders. "So where do they stay?" Ben asks. "Amman Resorts." Ben watched as a limo pulled up and exited 3 individuals, 2 wearing costumes made by Vought and a little girl trailing wearing a backpack and headphones. They all had stoic expressions as they walked into the luxury hotel, showing little emotion. "Okay, how do I get in?" Ben wondered. The girl then had a reaction all of a sudden and looked to her right and waved. This caught the shapeshifter's attention, so he followed her line of sight to Groundhog, who was also approaching the hotel. Which was strange since Butcher told him he wouldn't be leaving California. This gave Ben an idea. Minutes later. Groundhog just finished getting a room for $950 a night, but on his breathed leg he didn't notice a tiny gray being clinging to it. It was a good thing there was a line, otherwise Gray Matter wasn't sure he would have made it. Thankfully New York traffic always meant slow or still cars, so crossing the street was so much easier. In the elevator Groundhog took out his phone and answered a call. "Yeah, I saw ya." Pause. "I'm in room," rattles off a room number for when you sneak away. Longer pause. "Why not just tell them?" Pause. "Kid, I hate to break it to ya, but that's gonna keep happening." Pause. "'Cause it's true." Pause. "Well, your choice. See ya in a bit." Hangs up and walks to his room when he reaches the floor. 1 hour later. Maya Nubian placed her knight to take out her opponent's rook. "Damn it." Groundhog grumbled. "I hate this game." "That's only 'cause you're losing," Maya points out. "I actually like it." "Yeah, 'cause you win." Groundhog reasons. Actually, I played against my parents and they always beat me. The young Nubian points out. Before they started fighting. Well, if you were me, what should I move next? The soup asks. This here. Maya demonstrates, that continues for several more moves until she loses. You see. Easy. She says with a cheeky smile. Groundhog remained clueless. Why can't we play Battlefield 5 on your VS5? He asks. 'Cause you broke my last two. And if I ask for another one they'll get suspicious. Maya answers, resetting the board. As Groundhog was about to speak, he spotted a shadow in the curtains. Rat. Yes. He jumps and cheers. Room is free. Runs at the curtain, silver hands morphing into hammers. Picture the hammers a bit bigger than in the comics. I am not a rodent. A voice calls out, but it does little to stop the soup. Who, when he gets close enough, hammers a large hole into the wall of the next room. There a maid glances at him holding a broom. Sorry. Thought I saw a rat. He explains. The maid just continues to clean the room, not caring at all. Where are you, you rat? Groundhog says, looking around. He's not a rat. Maya calls out. The soup turns and sees she trapped a tiny gray-skinned alien under a glass on the chessboard. He's that shifter guy Homelander fought. That tiny SHT? Groundhog asks, pointing to gray matter with his hammer hands. Jar. Maya sternly tells him while pointing her finger. Groundhog sighs as he morphs his hammers back to hands. He then walks over to the table by the kitchen, pulling out $1 from his pocket and placing it in a jar. The jar was labeled "Swear Jar" with cute decorations, but on a sticky note it was written "Groundhogs" on the side. Can we at least use this for room service or something? I'm starvin', he laments. The young girl then clears her throat and holds up their prisoner. The soup then glances back and forth between the overflowing jar and gray matter. Yeah, I still think this is more important. Gestures back to the jar. It's like $500. Fine. Maya agreed. If I may, I have a proposal you should consider. Gray matter offered. 15 minutes later. Groundhog and Maya just finished listening to Gray Matter's plan. So what do you think? He asked, still in the glass. I'm in. Groundhog agreed and Maya simply nodded. So in about an hour post the photo and call Miss Choi. She's a great lawyer and will fight for you. Gray Matter responded. 1 second. Groundhog spoke. What's in it for you? Why do you need a media F-storm on this? The former G-Force soup asked. Can't tell ya. Gray Matter answers. Groundhog then brings his face to within centimeters of the glass. Why the fudge not? He asked, using an alternative to a swear. Plausible deniability. Maya answers. Exactly. Gray Matter agreed. Just know you'll get the money and new identities. Great, 'cause I hate being a Nubian. Every friend I make is just a fake. The little girl whines. What about me? The green soup says, offended slightly. You're like old though. Maya explains, before adding. Plus people think you're a pedo. Ahem. Gray Matter clears his throat, getting their attention back. As much as I enjoy your strange relationship, I must remind you I have somewhere to be, so if you would mind. Gestures to the cup. Oh right. Maya says, lifting the glass. Thank you. The Galvan before exiting through the hole in the wall. You might want to call a guy. He says before going past the still unfazed maid. With Hughie. Hughie was at his job, which at this time was slow. A good thing, because all of his attention was focused on the TV that displayed the latest celebrity news. In latest news, Nubian Prince and Nubia are splitting. This comes after their daughter Maya Nubian posts a picture with the divorce papers in the background. Screen shows a plate pancakes with divorce papers peeking from the top corner. Rumors are also circulating that this has been in the works for a while now. But both refuse to give a statement at this time. The newscaster says. At that moment a bell rang signaling someone entered the store. Hi, can I help you? Hughie began to automatically greet, but upon turning around he saw it was Butcher. Kid works fast. He simply says. How long have you been out there? Hughie asks, noticing how creepy his timing was. 1 hour. The bar. Meet us there, mate. Butcher simply orders, before walking out. The F. Hughie mutters, before going back to the counter. He then went on his phone, but as he was about to message his boss he saw a news notification about A-Train's new A-Trainer sneakers. He quickly started to have a panic attack and began hyperventilating. Hey man, I was a customer begins to speak, then sees Hughie's state. You okay? After a few seconds Hughie gets his breathing under control. Yeah, I am good. He tells him with a stutter. 1 hour later, bar bathroom. Okay, it's ringing. Hughie tells the two of them, standing outside the 2 stalls of the men's bathroom. Why are we in the bathroom? Ben asks. Yeah, hello. Hughie greets when the call is picked up. Hi. Hi. Yes, hello. Hello, Mr. Friedman. It's Hughie Campbell. I got your message, NN45K, it's just turns to Butcher who makes a face with an OK sign. It's bingo, like, life-changing. Mimics the sign. Pause. But I just need one thing before I sign anything. I need an apology from A-Train. Hughie requests. Pause. Well, no and a no. Hughie replies, Butcher signals to hurry up. Yes, he sent his regrets and his sympathies on TV. Ben then makes a sad face and pretends to wipe his eyes like he's crying. Butcher points the finger gun at him, before signaling Hughie to roll with it. Hughie then changes his tone to that of him crying. But if I could just get an apology face to face, that would be fantastic. Just for closure, just to put a B button on it. Pause. Alright, in that case, can you just give me, stops? Hello? He asks, then with realization he says. I think they hung up. I don't think they're gonna go for it. He assumes. Just wait. Ben tells him. Oh, yes, they will. Butcher adds with a fiendish smile. If you excuse me. I gotta go to New Jersey. Ben tells them out of the blue. For what? Hughie asks. Best food trucks there. He says. Least that's what that Yelp thing tells me. He adds as he's out the door. So he just does whatever until you call him? Hughie asks. Don't get your ball worried for nothing. Butcher shrugs, before leaving himself. Trenton, New Jersey. Near a public park a food truck serving hot dogs was having a good business day. Weather was great, people tipped good and there was a long line of customers. Most of the patrons were African American except for one, Ben, who was in the middle. He had his hands in the pockets of his champion sweater. This was because after being pointed out by Butcher he should conceal his omnitrix. Which made him wonder why nobody back home noticed it. Still, weather was starting to get cold anyway. A hand suddenly taps his shoulder, making the kid turn around. He saw a guy in his mid to late 20s wearing sweats and smiling at him. Yo, you lost, bro. Ben then points to the food truck. This is Trenton Trey's trailer, right? He asks. The man laughs and turns behind him to say to his friends. Finally, a white boy with good taste. This earns him a laugh from his compatriots. Thanks. Ben says, unsure if it was a compliment. As the line shortens a bit, Ben asks. You come here a lot? The man chuckles. Bro, I be coming here more than I go to church. What's the Trenton surprise? Ben then asks, when they're close enough to see the writing. If I told you then it wouldn't be a surprise, came the reply. But it's good, he assures him. Just then, cops pull up as well, a VAT-labeled van and another sleek-looking car. Police immediately stepped out of the car, but a camera crew came out of the van and Blue Hawk came out of his own car. SHT. People mumbled. It's Blue Hawk. One person added. Sorry for the inconvenience, folks. The police modeled Soup called out. If everyone cooperates I'll be outta here in like 10 minutes. He tells everyone, but only gets silence in response. Soon Blue Hawk and the cops began going person to ask about DRGS. As Blue Hawk approached a middle schooler, Ben heard the man talk nervously with his friends. SHT, we gotta get outta here. You crazy man, then they'll shoot us. We get caught we're dead. We don't keep the package, we dead. Just need to get him away from us. Ben didn't know why they were so scared, but he knew that they were scared for a good reason. He then looked and picked up a rock. Then, looking to make sure that neither the cops, Soup, or cameras were pointing at him, he threw it at the car. He aimed for the cop car, but it hit Blue Hawk's, cracking the glass and sounding an alarm. This got everyone's attention, including Blue Hawk's. Ben took this opportunity to run and find a safe place unnoticed. Turning off the alarms, the police sponsoring Soup asked. Now who threw that? In a loud tone. Starts marching around, looking for any signs. Was it you? Points to one person. You. Points to another. Well, someone had to have seen it. When nobody responded, the Soup chuckled. Looks like we're gonna be here longer than I thought. He tells them, getting a few groans. What's going on here? A new voice called out. It was Wildvine, who jumped on top of the food truck and looked around. The cops immediately began reaching for their guns as Blue Hawk looked at the plant alien with confusion. The F you supposed to be? Wildvine. Ben introduced before jumping down in between Blue Hawk and the civilians. Now. Narrows his eye. Leave. He simply orders. The Soup chucks at this. That's not how this works, numb nuts. He replies. What are you guys even doing here? Wildvine asked. Police business. Blue Hawk tells him. Then why are you here? Ben asked. Blue Hawk takes a moment to respond, looking left and right in the meantime. We got a call saying that it looked like someone here was holding a couple of kilos of coke in a car. He informs. The confused Ben, wondering what the problem was with having soda. Maybe they stole it, but it just seems like a petty crime. First of all, having soda isn't that big of a crime. The F. Blue Hawk laughs, but Ben does not stop speaking. Second of all, you don't know for sure if they have it. Wildvine continues. Now leave. Not until we find which one of these gangsters has the DRGS. Blue Hawk counters. Now F off ya houseplant. Or we'll have a problem. Tries to walk past him, only to be stopped by a vineyard arm. Then let's get to the root of the problem. Wildvine quips before giving the Soup a shove, making take several steps back. Immediately people started reacting in different ways. One cop saw a teenager began to reach in their back pocket, assuming it was a weapon. He pulled out his gun. Seeing this, Wildvine quickly swung one of his arms, smacking the weapon out of hands. Good thing too, since it turns out the teenager was just reaching for their phone. Blue Hawk charged at the alien while he was distracted and delivered 2 back-to-back punches. However, before he could swing the third one, Ben did a spinning jump, delivering multiple slap-like kicks to his opponent. Then he reached to his back and threw a few of his plant grenades. Immediately the cops, nearby camera crew and Blue Hawk starting coughing. Go. Wildvine urged the civilians, knowing if the fighting escalated they could be in danger. Like deer sensing danger, they all began running, though a few souls stayed to document what was happening or were too shocked to move. Son of PP sucker. Blue Hawk grunted, marching out of the smoke with a police baton. He swung it when he got close enough, but Wildvine grabbed it. He then wrapped his arm around Blue Hawk's torso, before swinging him at his car. Then before he could recover, threw the rest of his plant grenades at him. These ones exploded like actual grenades, rather than smoke. The result was him and his car blowing up. Satisfied with the results, the Flowerana wiped his hands, then went for the thing he came to New Jersey in the first place. Walking over to the truck, he knocked on the side and a middle-aged man with a beard slowly rose up. "Yeah?" he asked nervously. "Yeah, is the Trenton surprise good, or is the surprise that it's terrible?" Wildvine asked. "What?" the man asks, more confused. "The Trenton surprise. Is it good?" the plant alien repeats. Yeah." The man nods. "Not a lot of people get it, 'cause it's a lot, but those that do love it." He adds, less nervous. "I'll take one." Ben requests, and when the guy tells, coming right up, before making it, he feels like he's forgetting something. It's only when he turns around and everyone is still staring and filming at him he remembers. Oh right. Glances to the passed out cops and camera crew and then the burning wreckage. Crime happened. Is anyone here a criminal? He bluntly shouts, then people starting looking at each other, some looked pretty scared. One guy starts to even reach for something. Seeing as people were on the verge of wetting themselves, Ben decided to let it slide. So he turned around. "My back is now turned." She shouts out. "I can't see anyone. So if someone left, I likely would never know who they were. Especially if those leaving committed a crime. Because that would be unfortunate." He adds, and those who haven't taken the hint immediately scattered. "Here ya are, man." The cook tells him. "On the house." "Gee, thanks." Wildvine appreciates, then takes the styrofoam container. Later. Flings his arm in a direction and swings away. Scene cut. In latest news, another heinous crime against Vought has been committed. Cameron Coleman says, beginning his segment. In Trenton, New Jersey, beloved Blue Hawk was assaulted while trying to make the streets safer. Fortunately, he and the two officers have not sustained any serious injuries. But this just shows again that this shifter is nothing more than a glory hound who wants all the credit for himself, even at the cost of criminals getting away. But don't just take my word for it. The biased newscaster adds. Victoria Newman herself tweeted that, although I admire shifters longing to help the city, his actions have caused many to feel unsafe as is not affiliated with any organization. He also refuses repeated public requests to just sit down and talk. People like that usually just do whatever they want with complete disregard for the rules. He finishes. You see. Coleman continues. Even biased, ignorant politicians see he's a danger. Fortunately, Homelander has vowed to make bringing him in his top priority, while also assuring that this will not interfere with his duties to protect the rest of this great country. He finishes with a smile. Scene cut. Hey, guys, come on. Stop. Homelander urges as the 7 heroes argue over money. What's Starlight gonna think? Gestures to their newest member. Listening to us haggling over nickels. We're the 7, for God's sake. Whether we're out there or we're in here. Pause for dramatic effect. Now let's talk about our more important situation. Looks at Starlight. Starlight. What do you think we should do about this shifter guy? He asks. The female blonde stutters. I'm not sure, I mean I just got here and he's still new. She replies. Come on. He urges. If anything, you two are a lot alike. Pauses. You're new, in different ways, you both want to make your mark, and you both want to help people. He tells her. Well, I guess. Starlight drgs on. If it were me I would help out wherever I was however I could. He finishes. Like in Des Moines if I was on my way to the store, but someone was getting car-jacked I'd stop him. She adds. Homelander then has a look of realization on his face. What about on your way from the store? He asks. Yeah, that too. Starlight agrees. That's it. Gives her the finger gun. You're brilliant. How? Annie wonders. Black Noir clears his throat getting everyone's attention. He then holds up a map of New York with several dots on it. On the top it's labeled plainly as sightings for shifter sightings. Thanks Noir. Homelander appreciates. We'll just wait a bit then have our analysts triangulate his home base. Looks to Starlight. Good first impression. Thank you. Starlight smiles with pride. Now, Homelander drgs on. Let's talk about how many lives we saved today. Scene cut. Ben laughs in the back of Butcher's car watching Phineas and Ferb on Disney on his phone. How did they build that roller coaster that big so fast? He asks, as he watches the characters zoom around a building labeled Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated. He then laughs as the scientist is being beaten by a teal platypus with a fedora. These guys are geniuses. He wheezes out. Yeah, I used to love that show. Hughie tells him. Eventually they stop close to Vought Tower, when they do Hughie asks. Do you have a dog? To which Butcher replies. No, despite evidence to the contrary. Alright, give us your phone. The Brit requests. There's all security to worry about. He assures, before pulling out a small listening device. In fact, they're a bunch of Muppets. And the metal detector won't pick this up. Right? And what they'll probably do is take you through the security and then up into the boardroom. Sit down. Be nice, congenial. Then, real polite like, tell M you're gonna take a fake SHT. He explains. Ben laughs. Go into the bog, take the bug out. Peel back the plastic bit to reveal the sticky side. Put the plastic bit in the bog. Flush it. Butcher continues and sticks up the middle finger at Hughie, who looks on with surprise and nervousness. Then go back into the boardroom, sit down big smiles plant the bug underneath the table. Easy peasy Japanesey. Bob's your uncle. That's that. Isn't lemon squeezy? Asked, never hearing that version. Also who's Bob? That's that. That was a lot. Hughie replies to Butcher, both ignoring Ben's comments. Hold on, can you repeat it again? Just a little bit slower. He requested. Because He adds, getting cold feet again. Listen Hughie calm down, alright. Butcher requests then takes a moment to think. This is like that scene in The Matrix. The Brit begins to explain. Now, you could take the red pill, right? Spend the rest of your life jacking off, crying into your chai tea green latte, what the F? Or, pauses. You could take the blue pill. Or is it the red pill? Butcher wonders unsure. Just take the other pill. Ben tells Hughie. Right. Butcher agrees before adding. And quit being a CNT. Which pill am I supposed to take? Hughie asks, having gotten lost in the conversation. Just quit being a CNT. That's what I'm saying. Butcher replies. F me. Okay. Hughie agrees taking the bug and exits the car. Good luck. Ben calls out as he heads inside the tower. The two are then left to their own devices as they wait for Hughie to return. So how'd you get the kid to post the SHT? Butcher wonders aloud. Oh, I said you'd get the money and new identities. Ben explains, checking out this TikTok thing. A lot of the stuff he saw seemed to be just pretty people doing a song and dance to music they didn't even write. People watched this. Why? You did what? Butcher asks with a bit of anger in his tone as he looked at Ben through the rear-view mirror. Said I knew a guy in the FBI who would help them. Ben reiterates, then looks up from his phone. Right? Listen, kid. Butcher begins, as he turns around. Don't go throwing favors like it's candy coming out of FNATA. And no, they on their own. But I promised them. Ben tries to convince. Well, I don't give a fat F, tell the kid and her soup any thanks, but I can't help them. Butcher tells him. And let's get one thing clear, you don't make any promises at all, PRD. Well, we have to do something. Ben counters. No, it's your SHT, you choose how to flush it. Butcher replies. A few moments of silence followed until Butcher broker it. So how'd you come about that doodad in the first place? He wondered. Oh, about a month ago it fell from space and latched onto my arm while I was camping. Ben simply explained. No offense, mate, but if some SHT fell out of the sky that'd be on the news. Butcher told him, not believing. Not even VOT could hide a meteor or satellite crash. Well, it happened in my dimension, so. Ben informs him. What the F? Butcher replies simply, trying to absorb the knowledge. Just then Hughie enters the car. Unlike before, he has a smile on his face and is full of confidence and bravado. Whoa! He exclaims. That was awesome. Butcher smiles. You get the job done? He asks, already knowing the answer. Yeah, IF got it done. Hughie replies. And I look him right in the eye, and I smiled. And that was awesome, man, just getting to stare that peach down. I get why you dig this job. Yeah, it has its moments, doesn't it? Butcher says. You were right. FA train. Hughie adds. Good. Butcher says, then starts. Now here's another fun part. Benji was just about to tell us how he got to this dimension. The F? Hughie asks with a smile. Scene cut. So you're from another dimension? Hughie asks, as Butcher drives. Normally the former SAS soldier would tell the annoying passenger to shut up, but Hughie was asking all the questions he needed answers to. Yes. Ben answered. And because of some space watch you can become aliens? Yup. And you can be like 10 of them? At least. How long can you stay an alien? Used to be for a short time. Ben begins to reply. But ever since I got zapped here I can be a single hero for a while. But the watch needs longer to recharge the longer I go hero. He informs, glancing down at the omnitrix. Okay, 20 questions is over. Butcher announces as the car pulls to a stop. What are we doing here? Hughie asks, seeing they stopped outside his workplace. Well, you got to go to work, don't you? Butcher tells him. Yeah, but, I don't, Hughie stutters, his face deflating. Well, that's all I need you for right now, yeah. Butcher explains. Yeah, but I can help with other stuff, I could be, like, your tech guy. Hughie tries to convince, not wanting to go back to his ordinary life. Like, I could be in the van with the thing and, like, he's down the hall to the left. Like, I can. Yeah, look, son, Butcher begins, looking like he's about to tell a kid there's no Santa Claus. I think it's best that I take it from here. You know what I mean? Yeah, but I can really help. Hughie says. I know you can help and you did. But we got it now. Butcher explains, gesturing to him and Ben. As Hughie gets out of the car he turns back and says. Oh, hey, wait. You ever see an S tier up 45k? Don't do that. Ben calls out, halting the man's action. They see you don't cash it, they're gonna wonder what's up. Yeah, you kinda got a point. Hughie agrees, pocketing the check for 45,000 before heading back inside. Hughie. Butcher calls out one last time, making him turn around. You're a good lad. He compliments, then drives off. Well, that was a success, now what? Ben asks. Hughie's F. Butcher simply says. Wait, what? Ben asks, not understanding. On our way here at least 2 people bumped into something that wasn't there. Butcher explains. Kid was caught and Translucent followed him. Who? Ben wondered. The Seven's Invisitant. He clarifies. He's the only soup with that kind of power that has access to the 7 boardroom, unless he was peeping in the John, which is also likely. Or he went to the girls' bathroom. Ben suggested. Either way. Butcher starts. We have a window until Hughie is alone, which is when he'll strike. So let's figure a plan. Ben shrugs. We could hit him really hard. He suggests. Butcher smiles as he parks around the corner, not too far from the store, but still not within view. Not only was there risk of revealing his position, but Translucent was invisible, so there's a good chance he could get the jump on them. I'm good with that. He says, agreeing with Ben's so-called plan for stopping Translucent. Scene cut. Madeline Stillwell was again not having a good day. First, the shifter was already making a name for himself known in New Jersey and was getting support in the African American community. Especially since he took down 2 cops, Blue Hawk, and let suspected criminals off the hook without even a warning. To top it off, he ordered food from a local food truck, boosting his reputation as someone the people can relate to. Then Nubian Prince and Nubia's divorce got announced, by their F-kid. So she and Ashley had to work fast to make it seem like a peaceful breakup and not the SHT show it was. It was a good thing that Hughie came to his senses. She had to threaten to drop A-Train in order to meet the kid's demand of an in-person apology. Now she waiting for a meeting with the mayor of Baltimore, Steve Nunes. She was supposed to meet with him earlier, but he had to delay it, a family emergency up. Which was fine since she was originally gonna propose Moonshadow to go to Baltimore, but could now pitch Nubian Prince, which her analysts said was gonna earn him higher approval ratings. Ashley then announced her appointment was here and she allowed them to come in. With Hughie. It was almost the end of Hughie's shift when Translucent came in. Naturally he wanted to know about the bug and Butcher, but Hughie told him he was an Uber driver. We're the 7. A voice spoke as a flat-screen television was pulled from the wall and lifted into the air. Earth's most mighty. The voice continues as the TV got closer. Champions of the innocent Mothaf. As Translucent was about to smash Hughie into SBMSN, a car drove through the store window and crashed into him, sending him flying to the wall across the room. The driver's side door opened and Butcher stepped out. Sorry about the mess. He apologizes casually, as if driving into a store was a normal thing. That was awesome. Ben cheers as he steps out, despite having been on spaceships. You should F off, Hughie. Butcher says, pulling out a crowbar. Yeah, 'cause it's hero time. Ben explains, then slaps down the omnitrix. In a blinding green flash he became Wildmutt and roared. Well, F me. Butcher gasped in marvel. Thanks to his senses, Wildmutt easily knew where Translucent was. So charging to the right side of the store, the dog-like alien tackled an invisible form into the wall. SHTF. The 7-member cried out. He didn't have long to recover as Wildmutt jumped on him and bit into his shoulder. F off you be. The soup spoke in annoyance, since his skin was carbon. The Vulpamancer's teeth couldn't pierce the skin. So Ben settled for tossing him to the other side of the store. Well, if it ain't the invisible CNT. Butcher spoke. Love that line as grabbed some spray paint he had been get and sprayed it. F. Translucent cried, covering his eyes in pain while parts of his body was now in a visible bright yellow. There you are, sunshine. The Brit comments before swinging his crowbar to the face. He kept swinging until Translucent got wise enough to catch it. Unfortunately he forgot about his second furry opponent, which he was reminded of when Wildmutt came back and bit into his torso. He then was shaken around like a chew toy. "Over here." Hughie called out. Earlier he tried to leave but after second thoughts turned back. Seeing the cable sparking and remembering what he saw on Jimmy Fallon, he knew how to stop him. Wildmutt threw the soup towards Hughie, landing face down in front of him. However, when he tried to pull the cable to shock him, it didn't reach. Panicking, he kept pulling it, even as Translucent was getting up. "SHT. He cursed. "UF prick." Translucent spoke slowly, yellow paint indicating he was facing Hughie. "Roar." Wildmutt charged and nudged Translucent forward. What followed was the cable making contact with his PP, shocking him with a large amount of voltage. "OHOHOHF. Hughie shouts in terror as the sparks fly. Eventually the soup falls down and with heavy breaths Hughie asks, Is he dead?" Butcher then gives the semi-invisible hero a good hard kick. "Well, he ain't moving." Butcher replies, seeing the lack of response. Wildmutt then sniffs him after. "Oh, F. Oh, SHT. Hughie says, feeling terrified and in shock. Wildmutt then taps the omnitrix on his shoulder and the device begins blinking red. Eventually in a red flash he becomes Ben again. Actually he's just unconscious. He informs, then asks. "Why is he naked?" "F is why." Butcher answers, before asking Hughie. "How'd you know the electric could do the job?" "Skin's carbon. Highly conductive." Hughie answers with deep breaths. "Saw it on, Jimmy Fallon." He finishes. "Would've taken me forever to work that one out. Good job." Butcher compliments, then goes to one end of Translucent's body. "Let's get him in the boot." He orders. Wait, what?" both Ben and Hughie asked. "The trunk." Butcher answers, thinking they just didn't understand the British slang. No, I mean, what are we, Hughie stutters. "What are we gonna do with him?" Ben finishes. "Well, you basically just tried off one of the 7, mate." Butcher answers, holding up the head. "Me?" Hughie replies flabbergasted. You hit him with AF car." He points out, then turns to Ben. "You used him like chew toy." Butcher then drops the head with a thud and says. "Look, potato, F potato. We're all in a shitload of trouble." No, we're not." "It's it," Hughie once again stutters. He attacked us, okay? And you're a federal officer, you know. Just call the FBI." He points out. "Yeah, oh okay, so, look." Butcher begins before sheepishly adding. "Technically, I'm not a federal." "What?" Hughie shouts, stunned by this. Ben's eyes widen momentarily before saying. "So you lied to us? Then who the F are you?" Hughie shouted. La Paz, Bolivia, South America. In a large mansion outside of the city, a family was eating dinner outside. A husband, wife, 2 sons and a daughter were enjoying a feast while chatting about the day's events. Gunfire was soon heard, followed by screams. "Que fue eso?" The husband asks, then proceeds to direct his family inside into an emergency bunker. Before they can get to the door, a huge thud was. "Well, what do we have here?" a voice asks. "Thanks for setting the table." The family then runs inside as sort of chimera begins to gorge their food. Hughie's workplace. "So, you're not a Fed?" Hughie asks, still in shock. Sirens are then beginning to be heard some distance away. "Do you hear that?" "That's the old Bill." Butcher points out. "So unless you want to explain why you've got America's favorite invisible wanker on the floor, give us AF hand, will ya? I'm not touching a naked guy. Ben steps back, then goes to the office. Gonna go destroy some evidence. He adds casually while tinkering with Omnitrix. Scene cut. After putting translucent in the trunk and replacing the footage of what happened, the three were now in Butcher's car. Alright, listen, I have worked for the feds. The Brit began to explain. I've worked for loads of people. I'm what you might call an independent contractor. You got a problem, you call me, I solve the problem. He finishes. They then heard banging from the back. Well, someone woke up. Ben commented. Okay, pull over. Hughie says, immediately wanting to get out of the situation he somehow managed to get into. No, Hughie, you don't get it. Butcher replies. He's seen all our faces. Gestures to everyone. We need to figure out a to keep his mouth shut. He adds, trying to hide his intentions about translucent from Ben. He may be an ass, but even he knows not to talk about that in front of a child. Can't you call one of those government people for help? Ben asked. They'd arrest us faster than they can take a PSS unless we have a solution. Butcher explains. Remember, all of those CNTS are terrified of VOT, only thing stopping Soups from taking DC is themselves. For now. He adds. Look, you two can do whatever. Hughie tells them. Just stop and ill. Hughie, you walk away now, and you will never get payback for Robin. You'll spend the rest of your life sitting on your ass with regret. Billy tells him, then asks. Now, is that what you want? Not to mention you might be able to stop what happened to Robin to other people. Ben points out. You can be a hero for all those people who think dweebs like Homelander and trans stupid are. He reasons. Okay. Hughie reluctantly agrees, then gestures to the banging. How do we stop that? I mean, he's not tied up or. First, let's find a nice place to knock his ball again. Butcher tells them and glances to the rear view mirror. You got a bloke that can knock the CNT smellin' to make him hush. If you mean I got a guy to punch him hard, then yes. The 10-year-old answers, dialing his hero. Minutes later. In an abandoned alley in a deserted part of town, Butcher and Hughie stood next to the car. Butcher had his crowbar and Hughie an electric baton. In front of the trunk stood Diamondhead, who was limbering up a bit. Ready. He said with a thumbs up. Butcher then unlocks the trunk and the partial yellow form of translucent jumps out. Moda F. He shouts, running at the transformed hero. Thanks to the remnants of yellow paint, Diamondhead was immediately able to easily find him. When he got close enough, the crystal-like alien delivered a hard right cross, sending him tumbling to the wall. Diamondhead then gave a few more punches before grabbing the fake hero in a choke hold. Do it. Hughie nervously stepped forward and was reluctant. You can't do it, you pages. Translucent comments, becoming visible and visibly naked. Thankfully Ben only got to see the head. For F's sake. Butcher then pushed Hughie into shocking the 7 hero in the face. After several moments he became unconscious and invisible. Diamondhead then dropped him and noticed his knuckles had a bit of BLD with cracks on them. Guess I hit him too hard. He comments as his crystal skin repairs itself. Butcher then looks down at the green bits of crystal littering the ground. Seems like it. Looks back to Hughie and tosses him some military-grade rope. Tie the CNT. Will this hold him? Hughie asks. The CNT's a soup, but he'd lose AF arm wrestling match to you and your noodle limbs. Butcher answers, before getting a plastic bag and scraping up the small Diamondhead shards. When he sees the other two look at him, he replies. Evidence. Can't have anyone know who did this. Yeah, 'cause you'd have to kill them, right? Ben replies lightheartedly, knowing who true he was. The transformed 10-year-old then puts a tied-up translucent into the trunk before turning back human. Now what? I know a bloke. Butcher answers, pocketing his desired contents. Top man. He'll know what to do. They then hopped back into the car and began a trek to New Jersey. Thanks to his SAS experience, Butcher stayed up easily as Hughie nodded off and Ben knocked out. As the morning sun crept up, Ben woke and yawned. "We there yet?" he asked, rubbing his eyes. "Be there soon, mate." Butcher answers. "Can we get some waffles or something?" Ben asks as they start passing by some restaurants. "Can't need to get to my man ASAP." Butcher answers. "Come on please, I'm starving." The child begs. "I could eat." Hughie adds, causing Butcher to sigh and pull over to a bakery. Scene cut. Hughie, Butcher, and Ben step outside some old warehouse-like buildings that look suspiciously not up to code. The park in between two of them, even though there is parking a short distance away with a van. Ben is still eating a croissant when the two adults head for a door. BUP. Butcher holds his hand signaling Ben to stop following them. "Stay here and babysit. We'll be back in a jiff," he orders, and the two continue to walk. Short while later. After meeting Sherry at the door, Hughie and Butcher go inside to talk to a man named Frenchie, who is skeptical of Butcher's business offer. However, Ben walks in, interrupting. "This is sick," he exclaims, seeing all the guns. The two new faces then turn to him. "Who is this?" Frenchie asks with confusion. "You bring AF kid in here, huh?" "Oh, him." Butcher casually gestures. "He's, the reason this job is possible." "Him?" Frenchie asks, then looks over. Ben is lifting one of the empty rifles with intrigue. "Hey lady, can you get a picture for me?" Holds his phone out for Sherry, who takes it and a few photos. "Wait, is this stuff legal?" he suddenly asks, the excitement wearing off, but nobody answers. "No then." Ben realizes, then puts the rifle down and takes his phone. He then looks at French and waved. "He the dude?" "Yeah, he is." Butcher answers, turns to Frenchie. "Wanna at least hear us out?" Frenchie glances between the two, then to Sherry, who shrugs before smoking her cigarette. "Not until I get my 40K. He replies. "Here you go." Ben answers as he tosses a lump of cash, whether or not it's 40,000 is unknown. Frenchie catches it and is a bit wide-eyed. "So we gonna get this started, or did we drive to Jersey just for a breakfast bagel?" Scene cut. Outside, everyone, except Sherry, was looking at Butcher's trunk. "Open it," the owner commented. "Who is in there?" Frenchie asks, finding this suspicious. "Where's your sense of adventure, Frenchie?" The Brit answers, activating the electrical baton. "It's translucent." Ben says just as Frenchie is about to open it. "You got translucent in your trunk, huh?" The Frenchman says, before pulling a small revolver and putting the barrel directly under Butcher's jaw. "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa." Hughie calls out. "Go away. Get him out of here." Frenchie orders. "He's chipped. The soups could be on their way. Homelander could be on his way right now." He tells them. "Wait, he's chipped?" Hughie asks, panicking slightly. "Like a poodle?" Ben wondered with curiosity. "You bring this to my doorstep. This is not my problem, huh?" Frenchie tells the Brit, gun still aimed. "Look, French fry." Ben says, getting a smirk out of Butcher. "What's it gonna take?" 100 times what you gave me." Frenchie answers. "Plus double all in advance and a bonus." He adds, knowing that they don't have that kind of money. "Done." Butcher answers. "Bullshit." Frenchie calls out, turning back to Butcher. "Oh yeah, bullshit." Butcher replies, then pulls out the bag full of small diamond head shards and dirt. "How's this? Gotta be worth at least what you asking. How rare is the stuff, oi Benji?" None on earth. Ben answers. Make a knife of that stuff, cuts through steel like it's butter. He adds. Frenchie puts the gun down to grab the bag and pull out a small shard. Where'd you get this? He asks, while examining the shard and even holding it to the sun. Benny Boy is the shifter that kicked the 7 right in their F little ball. Butcher informs him. Frenchie glances to Ben, who rolls up his Adidas sweater sleeve, revealing the omnitrix. Next time lead with that. He simply says before they pack it to another location. I know a place, follow me. 7 Tower. Black Noir. We haven't properly met yet. I'm Starlight. The wide-eyed blonde from Des Moines introduced to the silent hero who just walks away. I look forward to working with you. She calls out as he keeps walking. As Annie turns forward, she spots a small figure that ducks back into the doorway. The newbie goes over and looks inside but sees nobody inside a standard-looking office. Something I can help you with? A man's voice asks behind Starlight, startling her. Apologies, I didn't mean to scare you, Starlight. He tells her, holds out his hand. Stan Edgar, nice to finally meet you. Oh, the Stan Edgar, wow, nice to meet you. Annie replies, shaking his hand. Sorry, is this your office? She asks. No, but I'm meeting a colleague here. But they seem to be hiding. He informs her. Oh, you gonna fire them? Starlight asks with worry, even for just a stranger. Nonsense. The CEO shakes his head. Just some personal matters, nothing serious. Well, I have to go meet Ashley, but it was nice to meet you. Starlight says, noticing she was running late. Of course. Edgar replies, stepping out of the way. Have a nice day. After Starlight walks away, Edgar looks inside the office and then walks away himself. New Jersey. In the old remnants of an empty and dirty restaurant, Hughie was putting up foil to block translucent signal. Meanwhile, Butcher and Frenchie put translucent in a cage meant for a large dog. However, a bunch of cables and wires were connected onto the bars. Do hurry up. The form of gray matter requested as he did some tinkering with some spare parts. I calculate he'll wake up soon. F off. Butcher replied, before locking the cage with a padlock. That stuff really blocks the chip signal? Frenchie asked, gesturing to Hughie. Yeah. It's just RF shielding foil. Hughie answers plainly, installing the last of said foil. You can get it at Fry's. You in tech intelligence? Frenchie wonders, before gray matter directs him to place a small panel. Sales and installation. Hughie corrects a little awkwardly. Frenchie responds, not unimpressed with that information. That should do it. Gray matter says, getting out of the inside of the car battery he had them bring inside. I suggest we back away from the containment unit as it will activate in 3.7 seconds. Just then translucent starts to slowly get up. Oh, what the F? Where am I? He asks, as his vision clears. Oi. Morning, sunshine. Butcher greets with a smile. You know who I am? The soup tells them. Not sure. Frenchie begins to reply, as gray matter crawls onto his shoulder. I know so many invisible assholes. He adds, picking up his tools. UF amateurs. The invisible man tells them before trying to rip open the cage. F. He yelps as he's shocked with hundreds of volts of electricity, courtesy of gray matter boosting the charge. Downside is eventually the battery will wear out in a few days max. Ooh, mind them bars, son. You'll only bollocks yourself again. Butcher comments before he begins closing the door. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, what do you guys want? Money? Translucent offers. We don't want your effing money. Butcher replies with venom in his voice. All the money in the world and then some multiplied by 100 won't buy him what he really wants. He then closes the door. What do you think, Frenchie? The Brit asks. You just dropped the Moby FPP of problems on my plate. The Frenchman replies, smoking a cigarette. Inhales then blows. That's what I think. Okay. He can reorder his carbon on his skin into metamaterial. It's hard as diamonds. Frenchie informs. Only on his external skin. Gray matter corrects as he jumps on the table. It is likely that he'll still suffer effects from things such as toxic gas or starvation. In case you haven't noticed, there's no supply of mustard gas and we don't got time to starve the BSTRD. Butcher replies. You're planning to kill him? Hughie asks. What? No. The former SAS replied with a horrified look. We just need something to kill him so we can leverage information out of him. Otherwise the bloke will tell us to F off cause we can't kill him. I can. Gray matter reminds them. Just not in this form. Diamond Head would be much better suited. Thinks. I shall need some time before I can become him though. Gray matter then hops off the table and becomes human in a red flash. Oi Benji. Butcher begins. You can't stay here. He says. What? Why? The 10-year-old asks. Cause the 7 are gonna know soon that translucent is missing. Normally they wouldn't care, but when they can't find a chip signal they'll know something is up. Pauses. I need you to distract those CNTS so we can deal with this CNT. Gestures to translucent. Is that what I am? Ben asks. The distraction guy, like Shaggy and Scooby. He compares since they exist in both dimensions. Listen. Butcher starts. Of the 4 of us only you can take on the 7 and get away without a scratch. He reminds him. Personally I don't want to send you, but I gotta. Unless you want to hand me your little alien costume shop on your wrist there. Points to the omnitrix. Ben looks down at his wrist. Okay fine. Size. Anything specific? Just show them up. Butcher simply says. Save a life, Instagram it and what the F. A gala. Frenchie Point speaks. Vaught is hosting a little gala, maybe you can crash it. He suggests. Grown-up party lame. Ben whines, before walking away. A minute after he leaves, Butcher and Frenchie get back to talking. You heard the kid. Butcher says. Those little diamonds can break his skin. Yes, but those are small to make into effective bullets. Frenchie answers. I could mix them into a grenade, but I don't know if it will be powerful enough. Well, what about a shotgun? Butcher suggested. Aim it at the head and boom, he's off. Could work. Frenchie admitted. But we'd only get one chance. And I'd lose all my payment, if it was for that. Course it effin' wasn't just needed you to say yes. Butcher answers. Hughie watched this interaction with shock. You're gonna kill him? He asks. The 2 foreigners look at the American and the Brit says. Well, we didn't bring him here for AF Happy Meal. He points out. But you told him. Hughie tries to reply, gesturing to where Ben walked. Would you tell a child you're about to commit murder? Frenchie says, inhaling his cigarette. Still I thought we'd question him or something. Hughie replies. I don't know, you get a hold of someone this big. At Gitmo, we had to waterboard college Sheikh Mohammed 183 times over 6 months to get him to talk just once. Butcher tells Hughie about the man who is charged with helping to orchestrate the 9/11 attacks. Now, we ain't got 6 months. Heck, if Benny Boy wasn't here I would have doubted if we even got 6 hours. Hughie processed this before replying. There are so many crazy things about what you just said, but right now, you're talking about randomly killing one of the most famous men on the planet. Pauses. A goddamn national treasure. I mean, people tend to notice that kind of thing. And if we let him go? Butcher begins to reply. What do you think the 7 are gonna do to us? Pauses. You can't get a train if you're a greasy smear on the pavement. He reminds him. I'm not a murderer. Hughie says. That's all right. Butcher pats Hughie on the back. I am. As Butcher and Frenchie were about to get to work, Hughie gets an idea. What about a small test to get him scared? He suggests. The two then turn to the rookie. Like, use a small one to show we can kill him and maybe he'll talk. The small bits won't do AF. Butcher points out. You heard Frenchie. No, but it will still pierce the skin a bit. Frenchie corrects. And if it does? Hughie adds. You think he'll be scared of a little paper cut? Butcher asks. If you thought you were indestructible, wouldn't you? Hughie replies. Butcher smiles and nods. Alright, we'll try it your way. Then we'll off his arse. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 3. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author AUFan62 on fanfiction.net. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.